My sister called me a corporate slave and demanded my penthouse because she's an influencer. 3 months later, she's trading her ring light for a prison cell. Hi everyone. Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post. I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but I need to get this off my chest before I lose my mind. I'm James, 31M, and I'm dealing with a situation involving my younger sister Ashley, 27F, and our parents, 60M, 58F, that's escalating beyond anything I could have imagined. Let me give you some background. I've worked in corporate finance for 8 years, climbing from an entry-level analyst position to senior portfolio manager at a major investment firm. It wasn't glamorous, countless 80-hour weeks, sleeping under my desk during deal seasons, missing holidays and birthdays. But I was strategic about it. I lived below my means, invested aggressively, and last year, I finally bought my dream home, a 2-story penthouse in downtown Chicago with floor-to-ceiling windows and a wraparound terrace. Ashley, on the other hand, is what she calls a lifestyle influencer. She has about 50,000 Instagram followers, posts daily photos of herself at cafes and boutiques, and makes maybe $2,000 a month from sponsored posts, on a good month. She lives in a studio apartment our parents help her pay for because her career is just taking off. The problems started the day I closed on the penthouse. I invited the family over for a celebration dinner. Ashley spent the entire evening taking photos in every corner, posting stories with captions like, "Scouting locations for my next shoot," and "This view though." I thought she was just excited for me. I was wrong. The next morning, she called me at 6 a.m. "James, we need to talk about the penthouse situation." "What situation?" I asked, still half asleep. "Obviously, you buying it was premature. You don't even use social media. What's the point of having a beautiful space if you're not going to showcase it? It's literally a waste." I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. "I'm serious," she continued. "My brand is luxury lifestyle. Your brand is spreadsheets. The universe clearly meant for me to have that space. You should sublet it to me for like $500 a month and get yourself a nice 1-bedroom somewhere quiet." When I told her absolutely not, she hung up on me. But that was just the beginning. For the past 3 weeks, Ashley has been conducting what I can only describe as a campaign. She shows up at my building at least 3 times a week, telling the concierge she's checking on her future home. She's created a Pinterest board called Ashley's Penthouse Makeover and sends me daily screenshots. She's even started referring to it as our family's penthouse on her social media, implying it's some kind of shared asset. The worst part? Our parents are completely on her side. Last Sunday, I had them over for brunch. My mother spent the entire time sighing dramatically while looking around. Finally, she said, "James, don't you think this is all a bit much for someone who works all the time?" When Ashley mentioned she could use this space for her business. Her business? I interrupted. "Yes, her business," my father jumped in. "She's building an empire. You've seen her follower count. She's practically famous. And what do you do with this place? Come home, eat takeout, and sleep? It's selfish." "Selfish? I bought this place with my own money." My mother shook her head. "Everything doesn't have to be about money, James. Ashley has star quality. She's special. You've always been the practical one, the behind-the-scenes type. There's nothing wrong with that, but you should support your sister's dreams." Ashley, who had been quietly filming the entire conversation for her Day in My Life vlog, finally spoke up. "See, James. Even mom and dad understand that Instagram influencers with real influence deserve better than boring corporate slaves. I'm not trying to be mean, but you literally stare at Excel all day. I create content that inspires people." "You post pictures of your lunch," I said. "It's called aesthetic curation," she snapped. "Not that you'd understand. When was the last time anyone was inspired by a portfolio review?" The conversation devolved from there. Ashley stormed out, posting a story about toxic family members who don't support female entrepreneurs. My parents left shortly after, but not before my father pulled me aside. "You need to think about this family's future," he said. "Ashley is our shot at something bigger. You've done well for yourself, we're proud, but she's the one who's going to put our family on the map. Don't be the reason she fails." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The sister who hasn't held a steady job in 5 years, who spent $8,000 of our parents' retirement savings on a business coaching mastermind that turned out to be a scam, who once tried to return a designer bag after using it for 3 months of Instagram posts, she's the family's future? Yesterday was the breaking point. Ashley sent me a 47-slide PowerPoint presentation titled, Why Ashley Deserves the Penthouse, a Data-Driven Analysis. The slides included screenshots of her engagement metrics, a pie chart showing that 73% of her followers are luxury lifestyle enthusiasts, a photo comparison showing that she's objectively more photogenic than me, a section called ROI Analysis, arguing that her living in the penthouse would generate immeasurable brand value, a timeline showing how she plans to grow from 50K to 1M followers within 6 months of moving in. The final slide was a contract she drafted, without a lawyer obviously, proposing that I transfer the deed to her in exchange for 10% of all future brand partnerships exceeding $10,000 and eternal gratitude. I texted back a simple, no. She responded with a 15-minute voice note about how I'm blocking her blessings and standing in the way of destiny. She CC'd our parents on the follow-up email, which included the subject line, James's continued sabotage of family success. This morning, I woke up to 27 missed calls. Ashley had posted a photo of herself crying in her studio apartment with the caption, when your own brother would rather see you fail than share his privilege. Some people forget where they came from. Broken heart # family betrayal # influencer struggles # authenticity always. My phone has been blowing up with messages from her followers calling me heartless. My parents have informed me that I'm not welcome at Thanksgiving unless I come to my senses. My mother actually used the phrase, how could you do this to someone with her potential? I'm at a loss. I worked myself to the bone for this place. I saved every bonus, every tax refund, lived on ramen and coffee for years. But somehow, I'm the villain because I won't hand over my home to someone who thinks 50K Instagram followers is equivalent to a Fortune 500 executive position? Am I losing my mind here? How do I handle this without destroying my family relationships entirely? Because at this rate, Ashley's next PowerPoint will probably include a hostile takeover strategy. Update 1, 2 weeks later. I wanted to thank everyone for the advice on my original post. I tried setting boundaries like many of you suggested. I installed extra security cameras, changed my locks to a smart system, and informed building security about the situation. I thought that would be enough. I was incredibly wrong. Last Thursday, I came home from work to find a full photo shoot happening in my living room. Ashley had somehow convinced the building's maintenance supervisor that she was Mr. James's sister handling some family business, and got him to let her in. There were 3 photographers, 2 models, a makeup artist, and someone holding a reflector. My kitchen island was covered in makeup products, and they'd moved all my furniture to optimize the lighting. James, Ashley said brightly when she saw me, as if this was completely normal. Perfect timing. Can you move? You're blocking the natural light. I stood there, speechless, while one of the photographers asked if I was the assistant she mentioned. Everyone out. Now, I managed to say. Ashley laughed. Don't be dramatic. We're almost done. This is for a major brand collaboration with a luxury watch company. This could be worth $50,000. Out. I repeated. She rolled her eyes and turned to her crew. My brother doesn't understand business. Give us 5 more minutes, James. The exposure alone from this shoot will increase your property value. It took me threatening to call the police to get them to leave. As they packed up, Ashley kept shaking her head, muttering about scarcity mindset and blocking abundance. The photographer actually had the audacity to hand me his card and say, if you ever want to monetize this space properly, call me. After they left, I discovered they'd also been in my bedroom. There were ring lights still set up. My office, they'd cleared my desk to stage some CEO lifestyle shots, and even my bathroom, apparently marble countertops, are very on-brand. I immediately called my parents, thinking surely this would make them see reason. She's just trying to advance her career, my mother said. You weren't even home. What's the harm? She broke into my home. She didn't break in, my father corrected. She talked her way in. That's called networking. Maybe you could learn something from her initiative. Initiative? She committed fraud. You're being hyperbolic, my mother sighed. Ashley told us about the opportunity. Do you know how hard it is to book a luxury space for a professional shoot? She was being resourceful. The conversation ended with them suggesting I should be proud that my sister is finally taking her career seriously, and that my jealousy is really unbecoming. The next day, I changed the building's policy to require written authorization from me for any visitors when I'm not home. I also had a conversation with building management about the security breach. The maintenance supervisor was written up, and they implemented a new verification protocol. Ashley's response was to start a TikTok series called Toxic Brother Chronicles, where she documents her journey as an entrepreneur facing family adversity. The first video has 100K views. She films herself crying in her studio apartment, contrasting it with photos from my penthouse, from her previous break-in, with overlaid text like, "He has 2 floors but no room in his heart for his sister's dreams." The comments are brutal. Hundreds of people calling me sexist, elitist, and everything wrong with corporate America. Someone even found my LinkedIn and started messaging my colleagues about how I'm abusing a female entrepreneur. But the real escalation came yesterday. My parents invited me to dinner at their house. When I arrived, I realized it was an ambush. Ashley was there with a printed lease agreement, and my parents had invited their lawyer friend, Robert. "We just want to find a solution that works for everyone," my father began. Robert, clearly uncomfortable, laid out Ashley's proposal. I would lease the penthouse to her for $1,000 a month. The mortgage alone is $7,800. She would have full rights to use it for content creation, and I would move back into my old bedroom at my parents' house temporarily until she establishes her brand presence. "This is insane," I said. "It's creative problem-solving," Ashley interjected. "Robert says it's perfectly legal. And I'm being generous with the $1,000. Most influencers get spaces comped completely. You're not most influencers. You're not even a successful influencer." "That's exactly the toxic mindset holding me back," she screamed. "Do you know what my therapist says? She says you're threatened by my potential because you know deep down that followers are the real currency now. Nobody cares about your portfolio, whatever. I have influence." My mother nodded sympathetically. "James, Dr. Patricia is one of the city's top therapists. She's helped Ashley understand her worth. Dr. Patricia is a life coach with an online certificate." I shot back. "She has 200K followers," Ashley said, as if that settled everything. Robert quietly excused himself at this point, mumbling something about this being a family matter. I stood up to leave too, but my father blocked the door. "You're not leaving until we resolve this," he said. "Your sister needs this. We've supported you your whole life. You haven't supported me at all. I paid my own way through college, got my job myself, bought my place myself. We gave you emotional support," my mother said. "But Ashley is different. She's creative. She needs more tangible help. Then help her yourself. Why does it have to be my penthouse?" "Because," Ashley said, pulling out her phone to film, "it's already part of my brand identity. I've posted 47 times from there. My followers expect it. If you take that away now, you're literally destroying my business." "That's probably illegal, actually." "Robert, is that illegal?" Robert was already in his car. I left despite my parents' protests. My father's last words were, "You're going to regret choosing material possessions over family." This morning, Ashley posted a new PowerPoint on her Instagram story. This one is titled, "The Psychology of Scarcity, a Case Study in Sibling Jealousy." She's requesting that her followers psychoanalyze me in the comments to help understand his pathology. I'm exhausted. I've started looking into restraining orders, but my lawyer says it's complicated because she hasn't technically threatened me. The building has increased security, but Ashley has started showing up with different people each time, introducing them as potential brand partners who need to scout the location. I love my family, but I'm starting to think they love Ashley's Instagram follower count more than they love either of us as actual people. How did we get here? When did fake influence become more valuable than real accomplishment? Update 2, 1 month later. The situation has escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. I'm writing this update from a hotel because I genuinely don't feel safe in my own home right now. 2 weeks ago, I woke up at 3 a.m. to notifications from my security system. Someone was in my penthouse. I pulled up the camera feed on my phone and watched in disbelief as Ashley, along with 5 other people, were in my living room setting up what looked like professional filming equipment. I immediately called 911 and rushed over. By the time the police and I arrived, they had transformed my entire space. Professional lighting rigs everywhere, my furniture completely rearranged, and Ashley in full glam makeup, wearing what looked like a wedding dress. "Officers, this is a misunderstanding," Ashley said calmly, holding up her phone to film the encounter. "I'm James's sister. We're filming a very important sponsored post for a bridal company. James knew about this. I absolutely did not know about this. She broke in." Ashley smiled sadly at the police. "He's been going through some mental health challenges. Our family is very concerned. I have texts from our parents confirming they knew I'd be here." She showed the officers a text chain where my parents had indeed written, "Yes, Ashley, we support your business endeavors at the Penthouse." Of course, they'd left out the criminal breaking and entering part. While the police were reviewing everything, one of Ashley's crew members was live streaming the entire event. "Gang, you're watching history. This is what standing up to corporate oppression looks like." It took 2 hours to get everyone out. Ashley had somehow obtained a sophisticated lock-picking device. "I bought it for self-defense," she claimed. The police said they could arrest her, but warned that with my parents backing her story, it would be complicated to prosecute. As they were leaving, Ashley turned to her live stream audience. "You see what female entrepreneurs deal with? My own brother called the police on me for trying to work. This is literally violence against women's economic empowerment." The video went viral. #JusticeForAshley started trending locally. Someone leaked my work email, and I received over 500 messages calling me a misogynist. My company's HR department had to get involved when people started leaving reviews on our corporate page about employing someone who sabotages women's careers. But here's where it gets worse. Ashley filed a civil lawsuit against me. She's claiming that by previously allowing her to take photos in the Penthouse, I created an implied business partnership, and that blocking her access is causing irreparable damage to her brand and mental health. She's seeking $2 million in damages and demanding a judge grant her temporary emergency access to the Penthouse for business continuity purposes. Her lawyer, yes, she somehow found a lawyer willing to take this case, argues that her Instagram posts from my Penthouse represent intellectual property and that the space has become integral to her brand identity. My parents are fully supporting her lawsuit. They've written affidavits stating that they understood the Penthouse to be a family investment and that I had verbally committed to supporting Ashley's career. These are complete fabrications, but it's their word against mine. The legal bills are mounting. I've had to hire a serious law firm because Ashley's lawyer is aggressively pushing for an expedited hearing. They've subpoenaed my financial records, trying to prove I can easily afford to share the space. They've even deposed my colleagues, asking if I ever mentioned my sister's business ventures at work. Meanwhile, Ashley has escalated her social media campaign. She's now claiming the Penthouse chose her as its rightful owner and that she's had visions of her future success tied to the space. She started a GoFundMe for her legal bills that's raised $30,000. The description reads, "Help me fight against corporate greed and toxic masculinity. My brother would rather see me homeless than successful." 3 days ago, things reached a breaking point. I came home to find my locks had been changed. There was a note on the door, "James, we're doing this for your own good. Your obsession with material possessions has clouded your judgment. Take some time to reflect on what really matters." Mom and Dad. Inside, Ashley had moved in. Completely. Her clothes in my closet, her ring light studio set up in my office, her vision board covering my living room wall. She'd even registered my address as her business headquarters on her LLC documents. When I called the police, Ashley presented them with a lease agreement signed by my parents, who claimed they had power of attorney over the property due to my recent mental health crisis. This was completely fraudulent, but it created enough confusion that the police said it was a civil matter and left. My lawyer got an emergency injunction that night, but by then, Ashley had hosted an Instagram Live Penthouse takeover party with 50 people. The damage to my place was extensive. Broken wine glasses, makeup stains on my white couch, someone had drawn "Ashley's Empire Starts Here" on my bedroom wall. But the most insane part. During the party, Ashley announced to her followers that she was launching a course, "Manifesting Your Dream Life: How I Claimed My Destiny Despite Toxic Family." Price: $997. She claimed she'd teach people how to energetically align with luxury spaces and overcome scarcity mindset family members. 40 people signed up that night. My parents called me the next day. Not to apologize, but to tell me I was being disowned if I didn't drop the injunction. "Ashley is building something special," my father said. "You're just managing other people's money. She's changing lives. She's delusional. And you're enabling her. She has vision," my mother insisted. "Do you know she was just featured in an online magazine as one of Chicago's influencers to watch? When have you ever been featured in anything? I was in Forbes 30 Under 30 for finance. That's not the same. Nobody reads Forbes. Ashley has real influence." I hung up. Yesterday, Ashley sent me a final message. "I'm giving you one last chance to be on the right side of history. Sign over the Penthouse, and I'll cut you in for 5% of my course sales. This is bigger than both of us, James. This is about democratizing luxury and showing women they can claim their power. Don't be the villain in my success story." When I didn't respond, she posted a 3-part Instagram story called The Death of Brotherhood, a Modern Tragedy, with screenshots of our family photos from childhood, slowly transitioning to her crying in her stolen palace. I'm meeting with my lawyer tomorrow to discuss options. The stress is affecting my work. I've made 2 significant errors in trades this week, something that's never happened before. My boss has suggested I take some time off to handle my personal situation. Ashley, meanwhile, has announced she's writing a book, From Studio to Penthouse, a manifestation memoir. She's already taking pre-orders. I honestly don't know how this ends. I've lost my family, my peace of mind, and temporarily, my home. All because I worked hard and bought something nice for myself. The only silver lining? The building management has banned Ashley permanently after the party incident. Though she's now claiming that's discrimination against entrepreneurial women, and threatening to sue them too. Final update, 3 months later. I'm writing this final update for my penthouse. Yes, my penthouse, with a glass of champagne in hand and the most profound sense of peace I've felt in years. The last 3 months have been a masterclass in how delusion, when enabled long enough, eventually collapses under its own weight. But let me tell you how we got here. After my last update, Ashley's lawsuit against me was fast-tracked due to her lawyer's aggressive filing. What Ashley didn't know was that her lawyer, despite taking her case, was primarily interested in the publicity. He saw an opportunity to make a name for himself with a viral case, but he hadn't done proper due diligence. During discovery, my legal team uncovered something extraordinary. Ashley's successful influencer career was built on a foundation of fraud. Of her 50,000 followers, roughly 38,000 were bots she'd purchased from various services. Her engagement rate was artificially inflated through paid comment services. Most damning, she'd been falsifying sponsorship deals, creating fake brand partnerships using photoshopped emails and fabricated contracts to show our parents and anyone else who'd listen. But the real bombshell came when we subpoenaed her financial records. The $50,000 watch brand deal she'd mentioned? Completely fictional. The company had actually sent her a cease and desist letter 6 months prior for using their products without permission and implying endorsement. She'd been using my penthouse photos to approach brands, claiming she owned it, and when they'd express interest in partnerships, she'd fake the contracts to maintain her image. Her therapist, Dr. Patricia? Not only was she not a licensed therapist, but she was also Ashley's partner in a scam targeting vulnerable women through their manifestation course. They'd been promising buyers that they'd teach them how to legally claim property from family members using energetic ownership laws, complete nonsense that had already attracted the attention of the Federal Trade Commission. The house of cards came crashing down during the deposition. Ashley, under oath, couldn't keep her stories straight. She claimed she'd been paying me rent, then said we had a verbal agreement for free use, then insisted our parents owned the property. Her lawyer, realizing he'd been lied to and his reputation was now at risk, withdrew from the case on the spot. But Ashley, in her infinite wisdom, decided to represent herself. She filed a motion claiming that the penthouse had spiritually chosen her and that property law should recognize vibrational ownership. The judge's response was to recommend a psychiatric evaluation. Meanwhile, the criminal case for her breaking and entering was moving forward. The police had finally taken it seriously after the pattern of behavior was established. Ashley was arrested at our parents' house, live streaming the entire event, claiming she was being persecuted for being a successful woman. The arrest video went viral, but not in the way she'd hoped. People finally saw through her act. The crying was obviously performed. She kept checking her ring light, and at one point, she actually asked the officers to wait while she reapplied lip gloss. The comment sections turned against her overnight. Then came the avalanche of truth. Former friends started coming forward with their own stories. Ashley had borrowed thousands from various people for investments in her brand that never materialized. She'd stayed in multiple friends' homes, refusing to leave and claiming the universe had guided her there. 3 different women came forward saying they'd paid for her manifestation course and received nothing but copy-pasted content from free YouTube videos. The FTC filed charges. The IRS opened an investigation into unreported income from her course sales. The Illinois Attorney General's office added wire fraud charges for the fake sponsorship deals. My parents, faced with mounting evidence, finally had their awakening. The moment came during a family meeting at their lawyer's office, where they were presented with Ashley's actual financial records, the fraud evidence, and a letter from the FBI informing them they were now persons of interest in potential money laundering. Ashley had been running course payments through accounts she'd opened in their names without their knowledge. My mother broke down crying. We just wanted to support her dreams. You created a monster, I said, not unkindly but firmly. You taught her that rules don't apply if you want something badly enough. My father, reviewing the FBI letter with shaking hands, asked, How did we not see this? Because you didn't want to. Every time she failed, you cushioned her. Every lie she told, you believed. Every boundary she crossed, you justified. And worse, you turned on me for not enabling her to. The conversation that followed was painful but necessary. They admitted they'd been living vicariously through Ashley's supposed success, that her Instagram fame had made them feel relevant and special by association. They'd been bragging to their friends about their influencer daughter while dismissing my achievements as just work stuff. Ashley's trial was swift. Faced with overwhelming evidence, she pleaded guilty to multiple charges including fraud, breaking and entering, and identity theft. The judge, reviewing her social media history and the Penthouse manifestation content, sentenced her to 18 months in federal prison and ordered her to pay $347,000 in restitution to various victims. At sentencing, Ashley gave a tearful speech about how she'd been corrupted by social media and lost sight of reality. Then she asked if she could film it for her redemption arc content. The judge's expression was priceless. But here's where the story takes an even stranger turn. While Ashley was in jail, her former business partner, Dr. Patricia, published a tell-all blog post exposing their entire operation. She revealed that Ashley had been planning to eventually claim I had promised her the penthouse in exchange for services, and had been gathering fabricated evidence for a sexual harassment claim if the ownership transfer didn't work. Patricia had recorded conversations of Ashley saying, "If he won't give it to me willingly, I'll make him look like a predator." Who are they going to believe, a successful female influencer or another corporate man? This revelation sent shockwaves through my industry. My company, which had been considering letting me go due to the drama, instead rallied around me. The senior partners were horrified at how close I'd come to having my career destroyed by false allegations. They gave me paid leave to deal with the legal matters and a significant bonus to cover my legal fees. Ashley's remaining legitimate followers abandoned her en masse. Her Instagram account was suspended for terms of service violations. The influencer, who'd once claimed the penthouse had chosen her, was now federally convicted felon #47829B. My parents and I have slowly begun rebuilding our relationship. They're in therapy, with a real licensed therapist, dealing with their enabling behavior and the narcissistic family dynamics they created. They've apologized profusely, not just for taking Ashley's side, but for years of diminishing my achievements while inflating hers. We thought supporting her meant believing everything she said, my mother told me recently. We didn't realize we were actually destroying her by never holding her accountable. They've had to sell some assets to pay for Ashley's victims' restitution. She'd hidden money in accounts under their names, and they're facing their own legal challenges for the false affidavits they signed. But they're taking responsibility, which is more than I ever expected. As for Ashley, she's serving her time and, from what I hear through the legal grapevine, is already trying to convince other inmates that she's a political prisoner of the patriarchy. She's apparently started a prison Instagram account, managed by someone outside, called Confined But Not Defeated, where she's trying to rebrand as a criminal justice reform advocate. It has 127 followers, most of whom appear to be journalists following for the entertainment value. She sent me one letter from prison. It was 14 pages of rambling about how I'd stolen her destiny and how the universe would eventually correct this injustice. She also included a business proposal for when she gets out. We could be partners in a true crime podcast about family betrayal. I didn't respond. The penthouse is peaceful now. I've had it professionally cleaned, repainted, and redecorated. Every trace of Ashley's brief occupation has been erased. I've upgraded the security system to bank-level protection, though I doubt I'll need it. The other day, I was having coffee on my terrace, watching the sunrise over the city, when my phone buzzed. It was a LinkedIn message from someone who'd been following the story. "Hey man, I know you don't know me, but I wanted to say that your story saved my family. My sister was starting down the same path, calling herself an influencer, demanding we fund her lifestyle. We showed her your posts and got her into therapy instead. Thank you." I've received dozens of similar messages. Apparently, my story has become something of a cautionary tale in certain circles about the dangers of enabling narcissistic behavior and the toxic side of influencer culture. Looking back, I ask myself if I could have handled things differently. Maybe if I'd been less successful, Ashley wouldn't have fixated on what I had. Maybe if I'd stood up to my parents sooner, this wouldn't have escalated. But I've realized that Ashley's delusion and my parents' enabling would have found another target eventually. If not my penthouse, then something else. The truth is, Ashley was right about one thing: the penthouse did choose someone. It chose the person who worked for it, who earned it, who could actually afford it. Not through manifestation or vision boards or energetic alignment, but through years of genuine effort and financial discipline. My therapist, a real one, licensed and everything, asked me recently if I had any regrets. Just one, I said. I regret that it took federal crimes for my family to see what was right in front of them all along. But I'm not dwelling on regrets. I'm moving forward, in my penthouse, in my career, in my life. The view from up here is spectacular, and for the first time in years, it's genuinely, completely, legally mine to enjoy. Ashley gets out in 14 months. She's already banned from my building, has a restraining order against contacting me, and is legally barred from using social media for 5 years as part of her plea deal. My parents have promised to get her real help when she's released, though I have my doubts about her willingness to change. But that's not my problem anymore. I've learned that you can't save someone who sees your success as their birthright, who views your boundaries as persecution, and who believes their delusions are more valid than your reality. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply living your life in your penthouse, while the person who tried to take it from you learns that in the real world, follower counts don't pay mortgages, manifestation doesn't transfer property deeds, and calling yourself an influencer doesn't mean you actually have any influence at all. The penthouse is quiet tonight. No ring lights, no photo shoots, no dramatic live streams. Just me, my view, and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes justice doesn't need to be strategic or planned. Sometimes it just needs the truth, a good lawyer, and the patience to let someone's delusions collapse under the weight of reality. And that glass of champagne I mentioned? It's from a bottle Ashley left behind, one she'd stolen from my wine collection for her luxury lifestyle posts. It tastes like victory.